Hey everyone, if you're an ag teacher anywhere in New Mexico, you already know the deal. You are juggling a million things, lesson plans, SAEs, CDs, you name it. But underneath all of that, there's always that one big nagging question. So today, we're going to crack open the Agricultural Education magazine and find some real, practical answers.
Yeah, that question. How do I motivate them? It doesn't matter if you're in a classroom in Roswell or a shop out in Farmington. This is the one that keeps us up at night. But here's a thought. What if we've been asking the question all wrong? Let's flip this thing on its head and get you some strategies that you can actually use. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to tackle a huge, and I mean huge, mindset shift. Then we'll get right into the tactical stuff, what you can do every day in your classroom. After that, we'll zoom out to your whole FFA chapter, and then zero in on how you can reach every single student. And finally, we'll wrap it all up into a toolkit you can start using tomorrow. All right, let's dive into Section 1, the motivation paradox. Now, this is the foundation for everything else we're about to cover. It's a total shift in how we think. The goal is to stop thinking of yourself as a motivator, like a cheerleader, and start seeing yourself as an architect. Your job isn't to create their motivation, it's to build the space where their motivation can grow on its own. This quote from Dr. Gaya Hawk just nails it, doesn't it? We can't motivate our students. They must motivate themselves. We can't force it. We can't bribe it. We can't cheerlead them into it. Our real power, our real job is to create the conditions, the classroom environment, the chapter culture, where they can find that motivation for themselves. So if we're architects, what are our tools? What's in our tool belt? Section 2 gets into the real nuts and bolts. These are the day-to-day strategies you can use to build that engine of engagement right inside your own classroom walls. I want you to think about the first 5 minutes of class. Be honest. A lot of the time, it's just controlled chaos, right? Well, this is where we can make a massive impact. A really powerful hook at the very beginning doesn't just grab their attention. It sets the entire tone for the period and can stop off-task behavior before it even gets a chance to start. Dr. William Camp's set induction model gives us a perfect 3-step recipe for this. First, you need a creative interest approach. A cool video, a wild story, a weird object, whatever. Second, you set the context. This is the why. Not just because it's on the test, but why it actually matters. For your students, this could be digging into the economics of chili farming down in Hatch, or maybe it's a debate about water rights on the Rio Grande. And finally, you share the objectives. You tell them exactly where the bus is headed. Okay, our next tool is an absolute game changer, student agency. This is all about loosening the reins a little bit. It means moving away from that top-down, I'm the teacher, you're the student style of control, and embracing something called autonomy supportive teaching. It's really just about empowering your students to take the wheel of their own learning journey. And what I love is how this breaks it down into simple actions. Just look at the language, shifting from you must do this to you might consider this. It seems small, but it's a world of difference. Or how about just taking a minute to explain the why behind a project? And this one is huge. When you actually listen to and acknowledge a student's frustration instead of just shutting it down, you're not losing control. You're building trust. Okay, so we've got some tools for the classroom. Now let's zoom out. How do we take these same ideas and apply them to the whole program? You know, our FFA chapters, our SAE projects. How do we build a chapter that's truly motivated from the inside out? This phrase really says it all. We all know that feeling of running a chapter on pure, uncut advisor energy. It is exhausting. The goal is to completely flip that script. We want to build a chapter that's powered by the students themselves, a program that is truly for them and, more importantly, by them. So how in the world do we get there? Well, the secret lies in this psychological framework called self-determination theory. I know it sounds super academic and complicated, but it's actually incredibly simple. It's the science behind what makes people want to do things, instead of just feeling like they have to do them. And it all boils down to these 4 pillars. If we want our students to be intrinsically motivated, we have to intentionally design a chapter that gives them these 4 things: a real sense of connection in relationships, a feeling that they're competent and can succeed, real autonomy to make choices, and a clear sense of relevance and purpose. When you get these 4 pillars standing strong, participation stops being a chore and starts being a choice they want to make. But as we all know, a one-size-fits-all approach just doesn't work in the real world.
So, in this next section, let's talk about some strategies for tailoring what we do to reach every single student, especially those who might need a different kind of support to really find their spark. Dr. Colby Gregg's work gives us this fantastic lens to see this through: executive functions. For a student with something like ADHD, what looks like a motivation problem, what we call procrastination, is very often a skills problem. It's not that they don't want to start their work, it's that the skill of initiating a task is a genuine biological challenge. And that simple reframe changes everything from a problem of willpower to a problem of support. So when we see it this way, as a set of skills like planning, focus, and impulse control, we can finally move away from being frustrated and move toward providing support. And what's so great is that the solutions are things we already do. Simple tools like checklists, breaking up a lecture with hands-on activities, or having clear, predictable routines. These aren't just good teaching. For these students, they are absolutely essential scaffolding. And here's another incredibly powerful tool for reaching everyone: making sure what you're teaching is genuinely relevant to their lives. The 3Cs model from Knobloch and Wang gives us a really simple but profound way to think about building these kinds of authentic connections. And this is just perfect for us here in New Mexico, right? We can make cultural connections by diving into heritage foods and traditional farming practices. We can build community connections by partnering with a local business in Las Cruces or an urban farm in Albuquerque. And we can create these incredible career connections to our state's biggest industries, whether that's dairy, pecans, or even the cutting-edge science happening at the national labs. Wow, okay, we have covered a lot of ground, from those first 5-minute hooks all the way to the deep psychology of what makes an FFA chapter tick. So now let's pull it all together into your brand new motivation toolkit. So if you remember one thing, let it be this: you are the architect. Your main job is to design an environment where your students can discover their own motivation. You do that with strong hooks and a clear why. You do it by building your chapter on those 4 pillars of autonomy, competence, relationships, and relevance. You do it by providing support instead of judgment, and you do it by making every lesson connect to their world. So the real work starts right now. Here's my challenge to you. Just look at this toolkit and pick one thing, just one new strategy you're going to try in your classroom this week. Because that one small change, that one new approach, is how you start building a program where every single one of your students gets the chance to find their own fire.